Hey everyone, Kronos, Roly, and I are back to talk about the latest chapter of My Hero Academia. Join the discussion by leaving a comment and let us know what your take would be. Spoiler warning, this video will cover chapter 316 of My Hero Academia. If you enjoy these videos, please help support the channel by leaving a like and subscribing to Texas Smash. Hit the bell icon and turn on notifications so that you can be sure to catch us every time a new chapter is released. Let's nerd out together. This week, we fall back into the chapter, with Endeavor flying in as Deku is still in the sky. We've got Endeavor on the scene with Hawks catching the exploded Lady Nagant. Hawks' wings, however, are still not big enough to be able to keep them both in the air though, and Deku catches them with Black Whip, and they have a little bit of a bumpy landing. Hawks, at the same time, is begging Nagant to survive and not die on him, and give them any information on All For One. Inspired by both Hawks and Deku, what they stand for, Lady Nagant is able to reveal that she was supposed to take Deku to a mansion in Hibori Forest. She also reveals she wasn't the only one called upon by All For One. Overhaul is then captured by Endeavor and screaming to be taken to the boss. Deku addresses him and asks him if he remembers Eri, and tells him that she's the one he needs to apologize to. All Might shows up, and we close on the scene with Deku having a look of anger and wanting to go for All For One. We then jump to the mansion in Hibori Forest, with Deku leading the way in and pro heroes following behind him into the mansion. They enter the mansion and it's empty. A hologram of All For One comes on and speaks directly to Deku. All For One is relishing in how he loves to anticipate others and how his plans have worked out. He then goes on a long rant and ends it with, "You're next," to Deku. We close the chapter with yet again another big explosion. All For One sure does love his bombs, and the mansion is blown up. Hopefully next week we will pick up where we left off. Be sure to tune in.
Let's fall into the chapter.
Let's see what you did there.
Yeah.
I had your back, man. You didn't have to explain.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the first major thing that happens here?
I mean, it's cool that, they finally the pro heroes, Endeavor, Hawks, and them are on the scene, and we definitely get confirmation now that Hawks will grow his wings back, because he's all like, "Oh, I'm not ready to fly again." But it's awesome to see Deku still, even after everything he's done to his body, he still catches them with Black Whip, and then they have a little tumble and fall, but they seem all right.
So I know Endeavor has said this line before about how he's not good in the rain, or he's slower in the rain.
Oh, I laughed.
This chapter, because he said that before, and it didn't make this connection in my head, but I guess the way he looks, he almost looks like Colonel Mustang from Full Metal, doesn't he? He's
Yeah.
also not good in the rain. I don't know, his face right there and what he's saying, "I'm no good in the rain," like, I just got Colonel Mustang vibes, who is equally badass.
Oh yeah,
So.
good reference.
I found that entire part with him saying he's not getting the rain because all I could picture was like just this downpour of rain, and he's just all of his flames is just getting extinguished, and he's just standing there. Oh, it made me chuckle.
Yeah.
Well, he's just a little slower. He can still fight, but he's not as good.
Mm-hmm.
It happened before. When can you guys help me out there? I can't. Was it during the attack? What's the city? Haikyuu? Is that right? Haikyuu. That ain't right. The Stained City. What's that city called?
I think it was Hoju or something like that.
It was raining then too, though, wasn't it? That's what I was trying to get at. It's happened before. Yeah. So I mean, this isn't news. We knew Nagant blew up last week, but I mean, just to pat myself on the back a little harder. I told you, man, you can't take quirks from All For One. There's some fine print in those contracts.
There are, but she still went against it, and for that I'm proud.
Yeah, how do y'all feel about her being alive?
Well, we don't know if she's gonna live. She's alive now, but we don't know if she's gonna live or not.
I said the same thing about Gran Torino, and he's still kicking.
True. I think it's pretty much built up into the story to where these people can take a crap ton of damage. So I'm not surprised that she is still currently alive. We've seen what these folks can handle, from being slammed around through cement, falling several stories, and by the end getting blown up, and I'm sure he's not dead. So
Yeah. So I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, sometimes I do. My Hero is my favorite show, but I can be critical when I need to be. Sometimes I wish Horikoshi was a little more aggressive with the characters that. It's not like Nagant by herself, and I won't get off on a long tangent about it. But then sometimes he does go there, so it's enough to where I was talking about this in the chat the other day. Take a Kime ga Kill, right? It surprises you at the beginning, but by the end, you almost expect it. With Horikoshi, sometimes he will go there and sometimes he won't. So it's not like you think they're going to die every time, but it's not necessarily like you think they're going to live every time, although they live most of the time. But he will go there when he needs to. She's alive without any assistance. Like Overhaul didn't do anything, Eri didn't do anything. She didn't get taken to the hospital, but she's over here having a conversation after getting blown up internally.
Yeah. A lot of folks have a lot of plot armor. I think we had this discussion back during the war arc to where like a lot of heroes died, but the main prominent one, of course, was just one, which was Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So he can go there, it's just not aggressive.
Right. But then you take the conversation in the chat, the way it started was we were talking about Tamura's backstory when he was a kid, how his mom like fell onto him in pieces and how dark that chapter really was. So that was an example of Horikoshi definitely going there. You know, he wasn't holding anything back. So you never know when he's going to kill someone off and when he's not going to kill someone off.
But I do think there's a bit of a difference, though, between characters that we haven't really been following at all and other characters. Like the main ones you see all the time. Like, yeah, it was a very, very, very dark story. But it wasn't like, it was characters that we've seen this whole time, whether it's just been Hawks or Endeavor. We haven't seen, those type of monumental deaths. Which is why I stick with
Yeah.
he'll do it, but it's not going to be like any of the top people. He's not
Mhm.
going full Game of Thrones with this.
Right.
So it's just not as aggressive.
Yeah. What would you say is the biggest character twice so far?
Yeah, I'll put it with Twice because he's a lot more prominent to me than Midnight was.
For me, it would have been Night Eye.
Those are the top two for sure.
Mhm.
And I get when it came to Shigaraki's family, that again, that was his backstory. That was a flashback. So yeah, he'll definitely go dark. But I think the main thing is when to me, this is almost like a foreshadowing. This isn't the end of her story. And Deku's even fought for her. Like there's so much left for her to do. So that's why Hawks is fighting for her and she will survive. And then as far as her exploding, we don't really know how strong the bomb was that was in her. It looked like a pretty big explosion, but we also have Toga, who the League of Villains, or the PLF, whatever. Yeah.
Sort of the same thing.
Curious, she made her explode, and we all were like, whoa, she survived that? So now there's two people who their whole body has exploded, and they survived. So I don't think it's too far-fetched. And not only that, but we've seen time and time again the hospitals and the technology that they have to be able to help heroes recover.
Yeah, they can take the damage.
The difference in year two, though, Nagant's bomb was put in there by All for One. Toga's bomb was some C-class villain,
Yeah, no,
really, All
absolutely.
for One would make sure the job got done more so than this random curious girl.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you're also talking about Lady Nagant. She's a Class A hero. She's not going to be that easy to take out. And this proves it to me. And I'm glad she survived. I really wanted her to. She's one of the most unique the newest and most unique character for me. And I don't know. I'm absolutely in love with her. And I'm just expecting a lot more amazing, badass things from her.
I can see her. She's relevant, and that's probably why she's alive. We beat that to death now. But I could see her future being. We don't know the condition of the Public Safety Commission current chairman because she got blown up by Redistro a while back. So you don't know if she's alive or dead. I could see her maybe becoming the next chairman, and trying to turn that whole organization around. And on top of that, she mentioned in her backstory about how vigilantes used to be more prominent and the Public Safety Commission was kind of responsible for shutting that down. And she didn't agree with that. So part of her story could be opening the door to vigilantes as well and maybe decriminalizing that that title a bit, because right now vigilantes, it's basically you're going to jail. I don't know. That's just how I could see her future play out potentially.
I do like that if she took over the hero commission, she'll definitely reform it, and that'd be real interesting to see her in that position, especially after everything she's been through. And then Hawks, her right hand man. A lot of these panels too, it's just Hawks screaming. Everything's in capital letters. He's just yelling for her, and then it just goes to him and saying a successor for public safety. So
Yeah, I can definitely see it, and I would hope that she gets a chance to see how, because of course everything in society is going to change, and I do hope that she does live to be able to see all of that go through, since she, just really went down a dark path with everything that she went through.
I read a funny comment talking about Endeavor's plushie being so much better of a father figure in the show than Inji was. Like Endeavor's plushie is a father figure to Hawks, being greater than Inji was to Shoto. Okay, well, want to move on to Overhaul's piece or anything more on Hawks and Nagant? Or you want to touch on she said there's a few people who were called besides me, and then we have the silhouette of, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Is that 8 or 7? I can't tell.
well, yeah, she does. So she is able to reveal where
Oh, yeah.
she was supposed to take Deku to a mansion in Arbori Forest.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Sounds right to me, bro.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with it. Well, let's just
Yep.
go with it. So. But yeah, and then they have their little tumble, and then just admits that there were a few other people called on besides her.
Gonna be one hell of a battle.
So do you
Yep.
think these are like individual villains, or you think that's like a villain group?
I think there's some people from Tartarus and maybe some other people of his following that we might not even know about yet. That's who was called on.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing their silhouette, they look crazy. Horikoshi sure does know how to make things look creepy. It's pretty cool. I'm like,
It's
nice.
the eyes, man. It's the eyes.
Right? I'm excited to know that he's definitely not done, and I can't wait to meet even some more villains.
I
Same.
almost want to. It looks like the guy in the front his back is to us, right? It's hard to tell because they're silhouettes, but if you look at his hands, looks like his fingers are pointed. Like
I assume that was all for one, and of course he won't have any eyes.
Yeah, that's all for one to me.
Is it? Look at what he's wearing. It looks like a
Mm.
feathery coat looking thing.
Just like some tattered
Maybe.
weirdness. I thought it was like maybe his clothes from the prison break he still hasn't gotten out of.
Giving him a speech.
I don't know.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just trying to see what I could see out of silhouettes.
Right.
Horikoshi likes to do the silhouette game, doesn't he? 2 and 3 are revealed now, so he has to give us some more silhouettes.
Yeah. Keep us guessing on different people.
Yep.
And I just like how it closes with Hawks. Nagant asking how could he make such a face, and Hawks again, like you said, holding Endeavor's plushie and saying that there was someone to support him, and because he's an optimist. That hit me because I try to be an optimist, and like people go through some stuff, everyone does. So it's just awesome to see Hawks. I mean, he really has been through a lot with his whole backstory, and even having to be a double agent and kill someone. He still is like Deku and has hope for society.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Then before we completely move on from this little part, the way Hawks was saying, didn't you fight Deku, or didn't you learn from your interaction with him that there's still hope? I mean, yet again, just layer on top of layer on top of layer, Deku's just becoming All Might more and more every chapter. So that's what they used to say about All Might. He's becoming a symbol. Like, it's not just Deku strong. It's, hey, you shouldn't give up hope because of this kid over here. Starting to fill those shoes more and more.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that about, I love Endeavor, but nobody's saying that about Endeavor. There's still hope. Don't you see Inji over here?
He hasn't really completely earned that.
Right. No, he hasn't. I'm just saying Deku is becoming a symbol.
Yeah.
I mean, Endeavor's a symbol, but not for hope.
Right.
But he's definitely a symbol right now.
So overhaul time. Moving on to his section.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's get. There's not much there, but it is. He just will not stop whining about the boss.
Is getting on my nerves, my ever loving nerves.
It does suck we didn't get to see any like crazy power up or him being able to use, his quirk through his feet or anything. So that was
Not yet.
disappointing.
I still think that could happen in the future, though.
Yeah, no, I don't. His story again, same with Lady Nagant. His story isn't over to me either.
Man, so I feel like I bring up ReZero too much, but we've all seen ReZero. You know the part where Subaru kept trying to ask all these other royal people for help, and he would just tell them why they needed to do it, like it was the right thing to do and all this and that. And he kept getting shut down, wouldn't get any help, and then the future went to shit, so he had to go back and restart the timeline, try again. And when he finally figured out what he needed to do was he needed to take their feelings into consideration too. He needed to tell them, hey, this is why you should. Like, I'll do this for you, you do that for me. Let's both. That's the lesson that Overhaul needs to learn. That's where I'm going with this. Like, Overhaul, honestly, let's be honest, I get where he's coming from. He made a radical decision. He went against the boss, his father figure, and he screwed everything up. And then he got sent to jail. He's the reason, correct me if I'm wrong, he's the reason that the boss is in a coma right now. He did that to him. Not to mention leaving the Yakuza and, what is it? Chisaki, that's the word I'm trying to think of, in shambles. He messed everything up. And so right now he's thinking of himself, which you would in that circumstance. I think you would want to, and he wants to apologize to the boss, but he's not thinking about the other circumstances around him. He's not thinking about apologizing to Eri, which is the lesson he needs to learn, which is the lesson that Subaru learned back then. So yeah.
I was about to say that one panel I think is what pissed me off the most, is that whenever Deku brings up Eri, and we all saw the trauma he put her through, it still doesn't register to him as she is a person with feelings that you abuse. He's like, oh yeah, if only she was here. So you are only thinking about the fact that she could heal you. You don't care about apologizing to her whatsoever. It didn't even register, and it upset me so much to where I'm just ready for him to just go away. But that's my own personal feelings.
Yeah, you think he's gonna what's his future at the end of it all? You think he
I
is
agree with you,
redeemed?
Rolly, too. Like that is messed up, but I think this was another moment of Deku just calling someone out. To me, through his actions, is how he brings someone to the light or whatnot. And then here, he just straight up, he's not angry, he's calm, just straightforward to the point. And he's like, if only you could feel the same way towards Eri. Pretty much just shut up, Overhaul, and like forget your boss. That's not who you need to apologize to. It's to Eri. So I like how he's just like, dude, no, stop. It's Eri. And then you kind of see his face and he is like, what? And he like stops crying and he's just like, I don't know, soaking it in.
Just don't see that much self-awareness from a guy like him.
So you say he's not redeemed? Really?
At this point, hell no.
No. Eventually. 50 chapters from now.
I'm gonna have to see it through extreme actions for him to be redeemed. Kind of the same way that it was with Endeavor. You can't just say, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to show that. And
But do you think that'll even happen? Will there be an effort to redeem himself, or will there be no effort whatsoever? Because whether or not you forgive him is a different question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I really don't think so. But like I said, that's just what I think. I don't see it. Because I can't see everyone, in the story, every single villain we come across is gonna, end up getting that turnaround moment and get their happy ending. And I don't see it for him. I could be wrong, but I just don't think every single villain is gonna come to, the grand realization like, oh, I'm a crappy person. I need to do better. I'm gonna go join the heroes. Not all of them are gonna do that. And I think he's gonna be amongst that group.
I can see that. I think he will apologize to Eri, but he's not gonna necessarily make the move to really have a change within himself to be redeemed. Like, just because you apologize, like, cool, but I just feel like he's still gonna be, he seems almost like narcissistic, and He might apologize, but he'll just feel guilty, and then it's gonna be poor me, like, what have I done, and all this guilt and everything, and it's like, well, it's not about you, it's about what you've done, and you need to make up for it. And I don't think he will ever realize that. So I think he'll be like halfway redeemed, but not completely.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see.
me too.
I'm invested back in his character.
So here's the only path I see. If he is going to be redeemed, it's possible, but this is how it has to happen. He has to awaken the boss, and the boss is the only one that's going to be able to tell him what's up. Everybody else talking to him, it's fallen on deaf ears. But if the boss tells him all these things, he could say the same exact words, it's fine. But because it's coming from him, that could change Overhaul's perspective on some things. If that doesn't happen, then what's the point of Overhaul's character? That makes me think he's not going to be redeemed, and makes me worry that Overhaul, the quirk, might get taken at some point. There is a reason that Horikoshi's keeping him around. It's either going to be really good or really bad for the good guys.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
I agree that that's a good take. I like that.
But then again, I say that, and then what? Tamura had Aizawa face palmed and didn't take. Maybe he didn't know how to use All for One yet at the time, but seems like when people have a good opportunity to take powerful quirks, they don't. It confuses me. Here nor there. All right. Anything else on old Chisaki before we move on?
No.
Cool. We get to see All Might looking like a dad.
Oh yes, a scared father.
Quick little panel of him and then Endeavor getting them. They're gonna go to the hospital, and then it's real tiny, but you got Deku there and Hawks, and he's like holding Lady Nagant, and then you just see a panel of her finally smiling again, and then Deku, man, those eyes.
Upset.
Whew, there's some anger in there.
It reminds me of whenever the villains had attacked the students the first time, and it was one of the first times you ever saw All Might not smiling.
Yeah, I love that quote.
Yeah.
And that chapter ended with, and he was not smiling. Like, that was the final. Good comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nani, Deku, he's here. Say it, damn it.
Yeah.
I am here. Come on, Deku. And then it almost makes it seem like it's pretty instantaneous, because you get that pissed off Deku panel, and then it's like they're charged in the mansion, just a couple panels further down. The only part, though, is there must have been some time in between, because how else would Edgeshot and
the rest
Mountain
of
Lady, right?
Yeah, some time had to have passed.
I wonder, it must not have been too much, though, because the chapter, if it wasn't for those extra people being there, it almost makes it look like Deku just went there immediately,
It probably only took about an hour, so who knows how close those other heroes were.
Yeah.
I don't even know how far away that lodge was. So I don't think it was a lot of time. There was no way Deku was going to sit around and wait all that time.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think it was that long, but it's a good panel. That one is super cool.
Especially at the bottom right side of that panel.
I did peep that as well.
I don't think Low Kid's with my joke right now.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Own it.
I didn't know if you were picking up what I was putting down there.
No. Mount Lady, another wonderful shot.
Showing off her assets.
Like round 2, her and her little horns. It's great. But no, I was just more. I mean, yeah, that's great. But I was more going for Deku leading the way. Like he's the one taking charge. And you got all these other pro heroes.
Oh, Deku's in that panel. All right, sorry. Go ahead. You have all the other heroes following him. I had to make that joke, man.
Yeah, no, get it.
Yeah, he's
no, you go ahead. I'm done interrupting you. Go.
Yeah.
Go.
No, you're good. Now I'm done, bro.
It was epic. And I mean, have we ever seen anything like that before? Deku's leading the number 1 hero. I mean, amongst other top heroes. Like, what do you got? Number 1, number 3. What's Edgeshot? Is he 4, right? Edgeshot is 4, I believe. Kamui's 6, and Mount Lady, I want to say, is 22. I'm going off memory here, but
good memory, but just top pro heroes. It's great.
Yeah.
Man, he's not playing around.
And they're following Deku.
Yeah.
So they bought in. Yeah, I keep saying it, but Deku's All Might, man. He's
Right.
becoming All Might.
Then, I mean, that was cool. And then just jumping in, knowing that it's an empty mansion, of course, all for one, plans everything out, has a wonderful hologram ready to go for him, like how he just goes on his evil little rant. I was like, all right, cool, big long rant, good for you. I was like, all right. I just don't like hearing him and his whole, I don't know, his evil, like his perspective. It's frustrating, but
I was gonna say, but I will say that because I agree with every bit that you said, Locan, and on top of that, it's just kind of like a cliche to where the villain has to, go on his whole speech, and so we're just getting another one of those out of him. It's like, oh yes, I knew no one's gonna be here, but here I'm gonna do all of this here, and kaboom.
muah, exactly. Like,
Spoiler alert. Nah.
dude, shut up.
But there is,
Yeah.
I think it's frustrating, but I think it's frustrating on purpose. Like, there's some truth to All for One's stances on things, and that's how he sways people. Like, he appeals to their logic, but how do I say this? What's the words I'm looking for? They're truths, but they're carefully cherry-picked truths to get you to believe what he wants you to believe. Like, yeah, he's right. You're outcasted from society if you don't fit in. That was true before Quirk Society and is even more true now. Remember the mutant girl that Deku had to protect? I mean, All for One's not wrong in saying that, but he uses that to get people to join him so that he has people to do his evil plans. So
Agreed. I'm not saying he's not intelligent. He absolutely is. I mean, he's like, I didn't force her, Lady Nagant. Right, he didn't. But he is, at the end of the day, a master manipulator. Great writing. I value the writing because it is good and he does have his points and they're very good. They're strong points. But at the end of the day, he's twisting things to his advantage so that he seems like the good guy and making people leave him and manipulating them so that he can use them. And it's just like, man, you really are evil.
And
Like,
he's
damn.
mostly just targeting the dregs of society or those who feel outcasted and just bringing them into the fold. And it is, class A manipulation in every bit of it because he doesn't
mhm.
care about any of these people that he's bringing in. He's just trying to use them at the end of the day.
Yep. And he's even trying to get into Deku's head, telling him he took a thorny path. The more you fight, the more your spirit will be worn down. And I think that's what it is. All for One's already trying to get in his head, and he has so much confidence in himself. He's gonna underestimate Deku, and
Yep.
it might seem like he's gonna it's wearing on him, but at the end of the day, again, it's almost like a cliche where All for One really is by himself, and that's what he's always he's relied on his own strength and then just using that and his intelligence to get other people to do things for him, but he can't actually rely on them. And yet you have Deku here who has people that has his back and support him. So I think again, at the end of the day, that's what's going to give him strength. And he's going to be like, you underestimated me. I'm defeating you.
Yeah. And I think especially the line that he has said, the more you fight, the more your spirit will be worn down with no end in sight. I don't think that's going to happen with
Right.
Deku whatsoever. It didn't even happen with All Might. So he is severely underestimating him. And the last panel before Kablooey, whenever he said you're next and he did the exact same thing
Mhm.
that All Might did. You love to hate him. You love to hate him.
I like that. Yep. I love to hate him.
Yeah, he wants to piss you off. So yeah, I wonder how long he was keeping that one in his back pocket, like thinking about it in Tartarus. Like, oh, I can't wait. I'm
Just
gonna use
writing out a speech in his head. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna
this.
say
This
that.
is a good one.
Yeah,
This is a good one.
this will really get him. This will really get him. Thing is,
Yep.
so honestly, it did take a mastermind to be able to tell that Deku could probably flip Lady Nagant and she would tell them where, all of them were. Doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out. Like, oh yeah, that's
Yep.
what she may flip and tell them. So we may want to go move over to that next house over.
Right.
Yeah, that's my final comments on this chapter is let's look at the strategy piece of this for the good guys. Nagant's mission was to bring you to this mansion, and you go anyway because you feel safe, because they're not ready to take One for All, so they can't do anything to you. Like come on, guys. You did what All for One wanted. Nagant didn't even have to take you. Like, you played right into his hands.
But at least he brought backup. Because that was a thing that happened several chapters back. Well, I think it was Bakugo who was up there fussing and talking about you don't have to do everything alone, and he brought people with him.
But they also did exactly. He was mad about Nagant and his anger, I think, because even Endeavor was like, "Don't do anything reckless." And the next panel, they're going into the mansion, right? I think Deku, because that's what All for One did to All Might. Remember whenever All Might was fighting All for One in season 3, and All Might started getting mad, and Gran Torino had to calm him down, and he's like, "This is what happened the last fight. He got you mad. He made you do things that you wouldn't have normally done. That's how you didn't get him then." He's doing the same thing to Deku. He's just playing on Deku's emotions. Deku's pissed. Nagant blew up. How could you do that, All for One? You evil bastard. I'm gonna come get you, which is exactly what you want me to do. Like, we gotta outplay the chess master here, not do what he wants.
Yeah, but even with them knowing, I'm sure that they also knew though that this was most likely a trap. So but it was the only lead they had. So
Yeah.
you gotta follow up on the leads. So yeah, they're gonna go, but I seriously doubt they just walked in thinking, all right, cool, we're gonna catch All for One right now, like we're good to go. No, I think they just were just going there to just make sure that there wasn't anything.
Yeah, because they were gonna have to go there.
Right.
But wasn't the idea to keep Deku out of danger, and we're letting him charge into the mansion, leading the pack?
He didn't go alone.
Yeah, he's in front of everybody. And
Right.
Danny brought up a good point. Did you guys catch this? Only Endeavor and Deku seem to have gone in. You don't see anybody else actually inside.
I had just assumed that the rest were outside just in case anything went down.
Yeah.
Or they were scouting around the area. Because it would be really stupid if they all went inside.
Now, I don't think I don't even know if Hawks was on
Hawk
the
didn't
scene
go.
or just away
No.
from it.
No,
Because
he didn't go.
he's just
He
saying
didn't go.
take care of everyone. So maybe he was just watching, surveilling the premises, however far, however you want to say that. But I
I
don't
hear you
even know.
guys, but I can't help but feeling like Deku played into All for One's hands here. Like, I mean, Deku did exactly what All for One wanted him to do at the end of the day.
I was just about to say it's a blend of both. Like, yeah, he wanted them to come to the house after he cleared everybody out, but they were still gonna have to go to the house. If it was the only lead they had, you're gonna go to the house. Like, yeah, you may be planning to it. That's why you bring backup. That's why you don't let everybody go inside the house. They were gonna have to go. You can't just not go.
Yeah.
Then Dark Shadow in there, Invisible Girl.
He played into All for One's hands, but he did it knowingly.
Yes.
He didn't just walk into the house thinking it's
Yeah.
not a trap. He did it intentionally, knowing that that's what All for One wanted him to do.
You
Yeah.
think there's any fallout from the boom at the end of the chapter, the explosion? Do you think there's any real damage that's going to come from that, or just...
Probably not. I mean, this
Yeah,
lady got
probably
blown up
not.
from the inside out.
Yeah,
Probably
exactly my
not.
thoughts. We let off this whole video talking about how Nagant is still alive, and then now, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think this did anything to anybody. It's
Yeah.
just
Nope.
a message.
Yeah, just a message.
A
That's it.
message that All for One really does like to just blow things up.
Yeah.
Man, pretty funny.
All for One's related to Bakugo?
Again, Rolly, just my final thing. I do like that you're next. Like,
Yeah.
man.
The second he said, I'm like, oh, that son of a bitch.
I was saying before we started the recording, I think this is honestly, I think this is the best chapter in at least 5 chapters. I don't know exactly how long I would say, but this is the best chapter we've had in a while. I feel like it was intense. I mean, it wasn't like holy crap, this happened in this chapter, but the symbolism, funny to use that word here, of All for One just being like, hey, don't care about All Might no more. You're next, Deku. That's pretty suspenseful, I think, and well done by Horikoshi. The impact of this chapter is what makes it good. Anyway, all right. Well, anything else before we close out?
No,
Cool. You good, Locan?
Yeah.
we do have a question. I'm gonna add it in.
Hello again.
What's up, J Bunny?
What's up, man?
What she got?
Look,
I bet it's an overhaul question.
I understand that everyone's mad at Overhaul for doing what he did to Eri, but you gotta admit, Overhaul looks sexy in all these fucking panels. Like I don't know how he does it. Every panel he's in, he just looks good.
He looked crazed and demented to me. I saw nothing sexy.
That shirtless Kai. You remember that? I forgot all what he did when I saw Shirtless Kai.
You talk about last chapter.
I am. I'm
Oh.
just saying. But like you said that you said something about him seeing boss
Mhm.
and that. Yeah, I see that happening. I kind of like that.
The boss kind of
Yeah,
bringing him back around.
yeah, like he says to everyone when death ears something. I don't
Mhm.
know, something like that. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Right.
But
Yeah, the
I'm
boss is
just
the only one that's
scared
gonna
that
reach him.
I'm scared that the boss will like disown him. Like I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, he'll be pissed. That's for sure.
Nah, he'll be broken. Like he's already kind of mental right now.
No.
The moment
I meant the boss.
boss is what?
The boss will be pissed when he gets
Oh
woken up.
yeah, the boss is definitely gonna be pissed. But I'm saying like the moment the boss disowns him, Kai is gonna be broken. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that won't happen, but I don't know if it will or won't. I'm not sure. He'll be angry, but would he disown him? What do you guys think? What do you think, really?
I think, yeah.
He would disown him?
After everything he did, yeah. That's not even a question in my mind, honestly.
I don't know. I mean, the state that Overhaul's in, the way that he is so broken, and Overhaul's like is like his kid, I'm sure. Yeah,
Kinda,
he's gonna be
yeah.
disappointed. But if you see your child like that, begging for forgiveness, crying your eyes out, I mean, we don't really know much about the boss, but he seemed like a kind-hearted person from what we've gotten to see at least. So I think he'll be extremely disappointed and like turn his back on him in a sense, just like physically. But then he's gonna be like, turn around, be like, hey, like, everyone messes up. You definitely did a lot of messed up stuff, but
No, I was just about to say at the same time, he abused his granddaughter. There are certain, points you don't go past. Like this isn't just, oh, you messed up, the whole clan or whatever. You abused his granddaughter.
But it was a needful sacrifice. You
Oh,
have to
God,
understand
no.
that.
Ring around the rosy, though. The boss gave Chisaki Eri, and he gave Eri Chisaki and said, you'll know how to handle her. Basically saying, do what you need to do. So in a way, the boss didn't do himself any favors there with how Overhaul was treating
He
Eri.
the boss told Kai to take good care of her. I don't.
I'll need to fact check or like go and look up the exact quote, but I thought he said something to the effect of like
watch over her and something like that.
Yeah, he didn't say abuser.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the boss would never say that.
Because I would like to think that he did not think that Overhaul was going to do what he did to that little girl.
He knew. Well, okay. I'll need to go look. I need to find the exact quote before I take a stance on this. But I could have sworn he said something that implied like, I know you can get rough with people, but I think that's why you're good for the job or something. Like he didn't say go abuse and torture her, but he kind of like alluded to it in a way. I don't know. I'll need to go
we'll have to look it up. Yeah.
Yeah, have a look
dude,
that up.
He didn't like.
Nobody
like
knows.
I said, I reread this chapter like 10 times. I don't think he said something like that.
Oh, okay. So I'm off base. All right.
Yeah, so
But
I don't see forgiveness from the boss. He's probably not going to want anything to do with them if we ever see their reunion again.
I think we will actually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I know the boss is gonna be pissed, but I don't know exactly what he's gonna say.
I wouldn't mind seeing it though, just to give him a good brutal tongue lashing. I would not be opposed to it.
No, that's just,
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah,
I know it's coming. It's gonna hurt me.
I'm ready for it.
But also I do want Overhaul to have a bit of action.
I'm sure we'll see that.
Yep. All right, that's pretty much it.
Thanks, man.
All
Thanks.
right, glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the question. That about does it then, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.